Welcome back to another video. I think this is one of my most important videos because in today's video, I'm going to discuss 3 important keys when relating with healthy men. I think this is one of my most important videos because most of us don't really understand men or the healthy, empowered, masculine man that we're trying to attract and marry and like be with in the long run, because you can be married and lose that attraction. And so most of us don't really understand what works with these men because we've not had that modeled growing up. So either we've had a disempowered mother who is in her wounded feminine, or a mother that's extremely masculine in her nature. Maybe she's very narcissistic, and there are extremes of narcissism. Let's just say she's very selfish, maybe she has blow ups, etc. And so, as a woman, you now have suppressed your emotions. And of course, when it comes to femininity, we really want to be able to express the full range of our emotions, but we have to learn how to do this in a way that is attractive to the type of man that we want. And most of us, if you're on my channel, you're probably looking for a man that's in his masculine energy. Now, the way that we relate and function with a masculine energy man is going to be very different from a man that I guess is more toxic, or let's say a feminine man. Oftentimes, certain behaviors with those men will work. Whereas in with a healthier man, it won't work. Either the man will become defensive, you'll activate his flight or fight response, or a man will just shut down and pull away. And so in this video, I want to go over 3 keys that are really important when relating to healthy men, what they look for, and what they value. If you enjoy this video, please let me know, put a thumbs up so at least I know that you have watched this video, and definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what you're learning from this video and your main takeaway. And also any future suggestions for videos, you can definitely leave all of that in the comments. Now, the number one thing with healthy men is tonality. The way that you speak and your tone is very, very important to healthy masculine energy men. A lot of women will have a lack of awareness of the way in which their tone comes off to the opposite sex. Sometimes, even in coaching with me, they don't realize how their tone comes off. And if your tone is harsh, abrasive, cold, closed, defensive, or anything like that, a man that's in his masculine energy is going to pick up on that. And it's going to either put his defenses up, or he's going to just be repelled from you. Tonality is so important. You want to think about, well, how do you speak to masculine energy men or your partner? Are you angry when you speak to him? Are you soft? Are you lighthearted? Do you have a softer voice? Because this really matters to men. Are you speaking to him like a child? Are you scolding him? Are you acting as if you're his mother and demanding and you just want to get things done? So this is all going to be portrayed in your tone. A man is going to feel like how you feel about him or how you perceive him in the way that you speak to him. And this is very, very important, especially for attraction, because if you're speaking down to a man, you are demanding, your tone is critical and harsh, a man is going to feel like you're his mother. It's not going to bring out feelings of attraction in him. He's going to feel like he's being scolded, let's say. And tone matters so much because you can say one thing in a very different tone, and the impact of it will be very different. You can say, babe, can you put this away? Or you could say, babe, can you put this away? Or you can say, babe, do you mind putting this away, please? There's different ways in which you're communicating. It doesn't mean that you always need to be like a soft cupcake, or you can never have a firm tone with a man, but be aware of when you're having this firm tone with a man. Oftentimes, if you're upset or you want to make a point known to your partner, and let's say there's been repeated attempts on your end where you've been soft with him and you've communicated something in a very soft, neutral way, and let's say he's agreed, you've had a conversation about it, and he does the same behavior again, or he brings up the subject again, of course, your tone is going to get a little bit more firm at that point. Oftentimes, as a woman, our tone will become firm depending on what's going on within our own nervous system. So, if we are feeling fear, we're not trusting in our partner, we're going to have more of a stricter tone, or more firmer tone. It's important to be aware of how often you're having this tone with a man. I'm not saying that you're never going to have a tone with a man where you're going to need to correct him. You're going to have to hold him accountable. You're going to have to be firm. But that shouldn't be the day to day. It shouldn't be the day to day. Your husband or your partner comes home or your boyfriend comes home and you're micromanaging him or you're speaking to him in a tone where he's like your child. That's not something that should be occurring often. Your firm tone or your annoyed tone or whatnot should come few and far between. And so, how you know this is that if a man is coming toward you more often than not, and your relationship on a whole, let's say, feels good 90% of the time, that means that whatever it is you're doing, it's working. If you're finding that your partner doesn't want to be around you quite often, there's distance, he's not being close to you, well, examine your tone and examine the way that you speak to him. Masculine energy men do not want to be put down at all, but especially put down in front of other people. They don't want to be emasculated. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told that they're wrong in any way. They have very fragile egos. This is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You don't want a man that is weak in that you don't want a man that is also going to put up with your negative behavior. So it's important to have checks and balances in relationships where, yes, you should have the space to be yourself, meaning as a woman, sometimes before our period, we might be a little bit more tired. We might not be having a good day. Doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect all the time. And we, of course, need to be with a man that understands that a woman is up and down in her emotions. But that does not give us the right as women to also belittle men or put them down or be condescending. So there's a very big difference between being annoyed just because it's that time of the month and you're tired and you haven't slept, and sort of just making him feel like he's the problem. And when you make a man feel like he's the problem, he's going to either tiptoe around you and sort of act like a child to make sure he pleases you. And this is not what you want, because this is a man that's more in his feminine energy. He's trying to please his mom, essentially. That's the dynamic there. Or you're going to be faced with a man that kind of just says yes to everything you say and is really withdrawn and shut down. So a lot of this is going to stem back to your tone. And you can also go deeper with this and ask yourself, well, are you speaking to him in a childlike way because you don't trust him? And again, that's fair if there's a proven history there where he's not shown up for you. Of course, these dynamics run deep and, they can be reversed and changed. But because I'm speaking to women in this video, and I'm not speaking to the man, I'm speaking to you as the woman, you can change your side of the street and you can change the dynamic just by shifting the way in which you speak to him. And if there is a trust issue there, and that is why you find yourself constantly speaking down to him or emasculating him, apologizing for maybe speaking to him in that tone. If you've noticed he's withdrawn, taking accountability is really important. It's really attractive. It shows the other person that you see them. And so when you apologize for maybe talking to him in a disrespectful way, and you know this because let's say he's withdrawn and the intimacy isn't there, and then you are vulnerable enough to share to him and explain to him why you think you've been showing up that way, that can also start to reverse some of the damage that might have occurred in the relationship if it is that your partner has been showing up in a way that isn't the best. Sometimes, and I've spoken to a lot of women around the world where the man is great, he's showing up amazing, but a woman hasn't healed from her past trauma, so her lack of trust in men stems way deeper than the man she's with now. And so she moves into relationships with this mistrust, and any man, even if he shows up as a knight in shining armor, which so many men do, from my experience in terms of relating to women and speaking, about how their dynamic shifted, because at some point what happens is if a man is showing up great and a woman is consistently putting him down, her tone is always harsh, she's always critical of him, this all goes into the tone, then a man is going to shut down and he's going to pull away and he's going to feel within himself, well, my efforts aren't producing the result that I want. So I'm not going to keep continuing to use my resources and my energy into making this woman happy because I am trying to make her happy and it's still not working. So be mindful of your tone. If you want to relate to healthy, empowered masculine men, your tone needs to be neutral. It needs to be either high pitched and happy when you're excited about what he's doing. Girly and feminine is really important. A man doesn't want to come home to a coach, a boss, a mother. He wants to come home to a woman that is very girly, sensual, loving, playful. And again, there's different forms of femininity. I I wouldn't say that I'm very sexy or sensual, although my husband would say I am. I don't really feel that that's my flavor of femininity. I'm just very girly and playful. Oftentimes, you guys will even say that I look like I'm in my 20s. I'm actually going to be 42, but I'm very girly. So I have this like playful nature about me. I'm like a child. I act like a child with my partner. Of course, there's also that structure part of me where I am very routine and structure, very big on putting the kids to bed on time. And I have structure in place, of course, but that's for the children, that's for my clients. For my husband, I'm not that structured. I'm playful with him, and I try to kind of let go of my thinking aspects or work aspects or anything like that when he comes home. And I really just submit to him so that he knows that like I'm ready to receive him and that I need him and I want to be with him. And so that's kind of what he experiences with me day to day. So it's really important as a woman to nurture your femininity. Like you don't need to be like stuck up and like a shrew if you're in your 40s. You can be successful, you can be a businesswoman, but a man doesn't want to come home to that. A man wants to sort of let his guard down. And in order for him to let his guard down, then your tone needs to be one that's inviting, happy, excited, especially when he's doing something for you. You really want to be a little bit more high pitched. You want to be excited, and you don't need to be so like rigid and perfect. That's not femininity. That's like trying to be feminine. And again, that's a kind of masculine because you're trying to be kind of like rigid and like stuck up, I guess. It's too performative, and men are not really looking for that energy in a wife. Another key component with masculine energy men, and this is more for women in the earlier stages of dating, is slower is better. It is always, always, always vitally important to let a man that's in his masculine energy lead, because if you don't let a man lead, then he's just not going to feel manly. And if a man doesn't feel manly with you, then he's not going to really feel emotionally connected to you, and he's not going to be interested in moving things further with you. You want to take it slow. And again, taking it slow means that you honor yourself. It's an act of self love to not give your body away to a man that has not earned it, like, period. And I don't care how progressive you are. If a woman really loves herself, she's not going to give away her heart and her body to a man that has not earned it. And a man earns it when you feel safe with him. And it's been a period of time that he's consistently shown up for you. And consistently shown up for you means that like he's setting up dates week to week, and it's like a slow progression. Healthy men are not going to take things fast. Healthy men have a pattern of women that come on strong. So this is kind of what healthy men are used to. They're used to being desirable and having women kind of throw themselves at them, and then they get bored. So I always talk about being a challenge. When you are already a step behind a man, and you are a step behind a man when you take things slower, then a man is naturally able to take the leadership position. And then you're going to feel good because he's taking the lead. You're going to be in your feminine, and he's going to be able to be in his masculine. And then naturally and organically, you'll move to the next level into commitment with him. Taking things slow also intensifies a healthy man's desire for you. Again, if a man is unhealthy, and let's say he's in his toxic masculine, he's going to want to get to the end pretty quickly. And then he's also going to disregard you very quickly because he's just interested in conquest. If you're dating a man that's healthier in his energy, like ultimately he's going to be looking for a wife, and he's going to want to settle down. And so the more that you can intensify his desire for you, meaning the more that he's able to think about you and plan the next date, the more he's going to like be inclined to continue to move things forward. Because if within the first 3 months he already has you, and he has your body, he has your emotions, he has your heart, then there's no incentive for him to continue to move forward into dating and a relationship and eventually marriage. Because ultimately, when a man is committing to marriage, he's saying, I'm not going to sleep with any other woman except this woman. And if the desire is gone, like so quickly within 3 months, then he's not going to feel that much of an incentive to continue to move things forward into marriage, because he's going to know that, well, I'm not going to feel passion for her. I'm not going to want to be sexual with her into the marriage. And that is kind of the worst nightmare for a man. So slower is always better with healthy men. They're not going to be deterred by you taking things slow. In fact, they're going to feel very good about it, and they're going to feel that you are a woman of value and integrity. And that is like the type of woman that most men want to have kids with and want to like be with into marriage. They want to be able to be with a woman that they believe is loyal, and a woman that takes her time in getting to know a man is going to think, well, if she's taking her time with me, she's probably doing this with other men. And it makes him feel good because then every benchmark with you, so like the first kiss, when you first hold hands, etc., is going to feel good. And a man is going to be excited to get to more and more commitment levels with you because he knew that it wasn't something that came easy and it wasn't something that you just do with every man. Now, last and not least, and certainly there's like a million more things I could say about this topic. So let me know what your thoughts were. And if you want me to expand on this, and I definitely will, it is so important with healthy, empowered men that you develop your femininity. Your femininity is your energy. It is who you are outside of the programming and all the masks. It's your true essence and your true nature. You need to be able to relate with healthy men in your femininity. And so often I speak with women that are either in their wounded feminine. And so a woman that's in her wounded feminine is very needy and she's overly reliant. So even on a call with me, she'll be looking for me to give her all the answers. She's very confused and wishy-washy. And I'll ask her questions and she'll always say, I don't know. I don't know. My 10-year-old stepdaughter says, I don't know. And it just drives me nuts. Like I always want her to be clear within herself or to gain clarity within herself and not be in this passive mode of, I don't know. And so a lot of women into their 40s, 50s, 60s, even sometimes I speak to them and they're just very confused and like la-di-da, like head up in their clouds. And healthy men are not attracted to that because again, to them, it feels like you're a child and a man doesn't want to look after a child. You can be in your girly energy and you can be like a child when you're with your partner, but being a child doesn't mean being helpless. When I'm talking about being a child in your femininity, it's being playful and lighthearted and not like sweating the small stuff and being light in your energy. That's magnetic. That's attractive to children and people. It just feels good to be around a person that doesn't sweat the small stuff, especially women that are just lighthearted and fun. That is very different from being helpless and needy and having no sense of direction and, like you're confused all the time. So that is not your healthy feminine. And also, women that are in their unhealthy masculine, like that energy is aggressive and it's competitive to healthy men. So that's not going to work either because a man doesn't want to be with a woman that feels aggressive or is angry often and that he has to walk on eggshells with. That doesn't feel good either. And the other type of energy that doesn't feel good to men when a woman is in her masculine energy. So this is not her unhealthy masculine energy, it's just her masculine energy. She has not integrated her feminine energy, so she feels like a man. These women to me feel good when I have calls with them. They feel good in that there's no aggression in them. They're really nice. In my course, there's some women that are in their masculine energy. And so you'll be able to feel the different energies when you take my course. Energy is something that needs to be like shown. It's not demonstrated. It's very difficult to speak about it without actually showing you the different types of energy. That's why I think doing group sessions sometimes is good so that you can point out everyone's energy because there's no other way to really learn this. But women that are in their masculine energy are safe. They feel safe. They're not reactive, but they're flat, meaning that there's no oomph in them. There's no energy. So they're nice. They make great friends. They're the planners. They're there for you, etc. But a man doesn't feel like desire toward a masculine woman and a healthier masculine woman because she feels like a man. She can be a very beautiful woman and be very sexy, very beautiful, but feel like a man. And then a man is not going to feel a true like heart connection toward her because he's not going to feel that protective instinct toward her. And a man wants to feel that hero instinct with a woman that he can only really feel when a woman is in her femininity. So it's really important to do the inner work to move into your femininity and healthy femininity. In my course, there's 25 hours of like content in my course. It's $297. It was a coaching program that I ran. And there are modules there that you can start actually practicing and doing to move into your feminine energy because you really have to learn to move from your head to your heart. Because if you're always in your head, you're not in your body. And presence and being in your body is what people are feeling versus when you're sort of not in your body and you're in your head all the time, because then a man can't connect with you. And if a man can't connect with you when you're with him, then a man isn't able to feel your true essence and he can't move into your femininity. So I hope you enjoyed this video. My course is going to be a big help if you actually want to move into your feminine energy in a deep way because you have to do the inner work. And my books are also going to help you go deeper in understanding men and relationships. And if you want private coaching with me, you can definitely book a call and I can go deeper with you on a session. And I love you and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.